Welcome to the shop. I'm Jared and this is the Questionable Garage. And today's project is not the red Ferrari next to me. No, I'm actually, not standing in front of the car. It's the other red vehicle. And the reason we're actually, in a weird orientation where you don't get to see it just yet is, well, because we're all out of order. This is the end of the video. I've already done all the work. I know what's gonna happen. It's disappointing, but absolutely totally expected. You're sitting next to our red 1997 Jeep Wrangler TJ that I was able to pick up for $1 from Zach, a viewer who reached out and said, hey, I can't drive this anymore. It's rusty and not safe. So I flew up to Richmond, Virginia, fixed it up a little bit, just enough to drive it all the way to Bowling Green, Kentucky, where I was able to drive the brand new Corvette, and then brought it back home, and we've been working on fixing it and upgrading it and making it safe. Frame had major rust, the body had some pretty bad rust, and we're gonna find out a whole lot more wrong with it. A lot more wrong with it. But we still make a lot of wins, That's the nature of the game. You gotta have more wins than losses, right? Better than the 500 average, hopefully. But I really wanna take a quick second and thank today's sponsor. You guys. Yeah, you guys again. It's your support by watching these videos and watching some of the ads, skipping a couple of them. It helps fund all of these things. And it's expensive. So I appreciate you all showing your support by watching. Some of you have found the Patreon. I've not fully launched it yet because, well, I don't know how to Patreon yet. The other thing you've been supporting the channel with is by buying the merch, which I appreciate a lot. The link for the Bunker branding page is down below. Right now we've got the stickers. We've got the I like big blocks and I cannot lie Earl Leaker shirt, the BMW Sport Mode shirt. There's lots of cool things going, and we're gonna release more designs as they come throughout the year. So I heard some of you like the designs on the back, logos in the front. We'll work on some of those later on the year, but I appreciate you guys constantly supporting us. And it lets us do these things. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming this year, but first, we've got to get through car number 2 in our Flip series. Now, Flip series, yes, the premise is we started with a $2,000 budget, we bought a Toyota 4Runner, we sold the Toyota 4Runner, and we got this Jeep. Now, just for accounting-wise, some of you are calling shenanigans, saying I couldn't buy a Jeep for $1. So don't use that math when we do the calculations. And don't worry, we're not. He was listing it for $1,500. I was a shrewd negotiator, and on paper, I'm gonna say I bought it for $1,000 because realistically, a running, driving, but very rusty Jeep, you're gonna be able to get between $1,000 and $1,500. So that's the accounting wise. We've got $1,000. We're still a long ways from it being done. We spent a lot more today getting it closer to running, driving, but our goal is to hopefully end up eventually with a manual transmission, see you later gray Mark V Toyota Supra. I love the Supras. I know not everyone loves the BMW Toyota crossover, but it's a really good sports car. And the see you later gray, amazing. So that's enough pontificating. You've been introduced, you know the premise. It's not the Ferrari yet. I've got one more part, and then it's Ferrari or the Duster, or there's a lot going on. But anyway, let's go back, I don't even know how many days ago, to the Jeep sitting right here with the first round of problems fixed. All right, so now that we've got that introduction over, let me get you guys caught up on some of the wrenching that has already been done and what's going to be coming very soon. So first off, if you notice, we no longer have a brake line going up and over. I remade that brake line, and I did film that, where it goes down, instead of following the factory way of forward, over, and back, it's way longer than it needs to be. I was able to keep it away from heat and abrasion. We ran it along the firewall and forward like most all traditional cars. Now, if you remember, also on the rust repair, we had body mount problems. We've got them all fixed up. I cut these out. Now, if I'm being totally honest, I just got through this work. I was already on my back. We had already filmed cutting and welding the frame. And if you would believe me, it's the exact same process for the body. We cut these out. Now, our repairs were caps, meaning we cut out just the center section and left most of the original frame there, the tub. So we have got it undercoated. We have the cap in place, all ready to go. And most of the frame has been scuffed and rust treated. We've got a lot more to go there, and we'll get through all of that. But we now have all the rust, the major rust that's a problem, repaired. What is left to make this thing able to pass an inspection? Heater works now. There's no more holes in the frame or substantial holes in the body. Brakes work. I already said the heater. All of that works, but we have just a little bit of front end play that we need to get fixed. And that's where I'm actually really excited to show you guys all the front end work we're gonna do. That's the big bulk of this episode, is rebuilding the front end of the Jeep. And we're doing it with something that was really cool and I didn't know existed. This is the Dorman Death Wobble basically repair kit. It's got a lot of upgraded components, slightly redesigned components to eliminate death wobble. Now, if you're not familiar with death wobble, it's when the front end just starts to get an oscillation because of looseness, because of design flaws, and the wheels pulse back and forth, and once it starts going and oscillating, it gets catastrophically worse. So while I was working on this Jeep, Dorman actually reached out. They said, hey, we've got this kit. Not a lot of people know about it. We'd love to send it to you. And again, it is a complete front end kit. We've got ball joints, we have tie rod ends, we have drag link ends, an entire new drag link, a new steering dampener design. We've actually got adjustable sway bar end links that also have quick disconnects in it. So when you're off-roading and you're on the trail, you can disconnect the front sway bars and have a whole lot more flex up there. It is a complete comprehensive kit that's gonna let us get that whole front end built nice and tight, ready for the road. But I've been working on my back a whole lot, and I really kind of just want to rebuild this front suspension on the lift. So I need to move some things around. We have got Wizards Ferrari and Earl in the way, and it's pouring rain outside, so neither of them can really go out for the shuffle. So I'm going to try to figure out how to do that. And next scene is going to be the Jeep on the lift, finally. And we'll be getting started and get this front end rebuilt. All right, so we got everything shuffled. We've got the Jeep inside and we've got the wheels off. And it's the Jeep that keeps on giving. I did notice a little bit of discoloration and heat on this rotor, so I figured we'd get a good close look once we got the brakes off. And there's almost no outboard brake pad left, but there's a reasonable amount of inboard brake pad. So that means our sliders are seized. This caliper is sticking on. The fact that it's kind of melting that sticker lets you know it's getting nice and hot. I did order a new set of brake lines. These were a little bit long and kind of folding in spots. And I also have new shocks coming because the threads are just stripped on the top. We've got new bump stops coming because, yeah, those don't really do anything. And then I was gonna work on the parking brake. So I was popping the rear shoes and drums off so I can get a good look at everything. And you guys notice anything that looks a little odd? Yeah, this that's broken. So we're gonna need a hardware kit, and those drums are pretty knackered. Our shoe faces have some pretty heavy cracking in them. We could probably get away with this, but we're literally taking all of it apart to put in all new hardware. So spoiler, a $1 Jeep is not going to cost you $1. We're gonna have a good Jeep when we're all done with it, but she's definitely way more than $1. But the goal is to be able to safely pass inspection and drive down the road and have many more years of service. What's fun is you get such a nice mixture of metric and SAE. You just don't know what you're gonna get. Since we're potentially gonna have to do, you know, major brake repair, one, you have to pull them anyway to get the whole front end apart. And two, if I can't get these slides working and the caliper pistons moving, we're gonna be putting calipers on it. And I'm already doing new brake lines, so you just go ahead and pull the lines and get it all apart. You can also tell it's dragging just by how hard it is to actually turn this thing. It takes a lot of effort. You know what's interesting is that slide is free. How's our bottom slide? It might just be the shoes sticking thanks to rust. Oh yeah, we got ourselves some nice rust jacking going on. You ever heard the term rust jacking? It's when the rust starts forming and shoving everything apart. This was about to be fully metal to metal. All right, so as long as this piston compresses, we just need to clean everything really well, lube it, same for our bracket side. So really cool ratcheting versions of these piston compressors, but I don't have them. All right, well, that's good news. We'll just normal cleaning and lubing, and then we got to knock all the rust off. But I don't believe this caliper is bad. Rotors, on the other hand, they've had better days. All right, let's get cotter pin cut out, axle nut off. So the goal with that is to try to get any chunks and things out that would bind in the threads as it works its way out. Just make it so I can turn it however I want, whenever I want. Now, normally don't strike the tie rod in, but we're replacing all of this. I don't know how grungy this was before, but it is kind of grungy. And this bad boy comes out. Now you may be looking and go like, why is it rusty? This is just a dust shield. Your actual gear oil seal is all the way on the inside. Not a whole lot of fun to change out, but okay. Well, now we can go ahead and get this knuckle off. We'll finish stripping this and then repeat the process on the other side off camera. And then we'll start putting the good parts in. That's always nice when the cotter pin just disintegrates. All my batteries are dead. Alright, I got my air pressure down. Finally, there we go. You're not supposed to do that. I don't believe. I'm pretty sure it's a ball joint, not a kingpin. Yeah, no, these were just completely worn out. Like, that's... If you can hear that. You'll get looseness as they age, but it should not be that. Ugh. Well, let's get steering arms off, and then we'll get that side taken apart. Well, let's wrap up the day's wrenching. I've got a lot of brake parts that'll be here tomorrow. We're still waiting for a lot of other things. My goal really right now at this point for this episode is to get what we knew needed to be done, which is get this front end back together. And she's a fighter. We've got our tie rod, our drag link, all of our new ball joints installed, looking really good, and it was time to replace our radius arm, I believe it's called. Jeeps call it something different. It's not the drag link. It's like the panhard in the back, but for the front. And it had the factory bolt still there, which is a Torx. And wouldn't you know it, it was rusted solid. And I keep welding nuts to it and they're breaking, so I'm gonna pick up a nut large enough to cover the entire thing so I can get a little bit better weld on it and try to get that loose. Because otherwise you can't quite just cut the front off. This is somewhat of a blind hole, and it's kind of tricky to try to get that whole thing apart. Once we can do that, then it's finishing up sway bars, and then we're back on track, sort of. I can't be that surprised. It was $1, right? I had to expect at least half of the problems. So we'll pick you up in the morning with a little bit more welding, and hopefully we can get this arm off and the new one measured up and put in place. All right, it is the next morning. I've picked up some parts for the brakes, and I was looking forward to a solution to our sway bar problem and interference in the front, and just kind of wanted to get you guys caught up on what that solution is. I just cut the brackets off. You know what? Where we're going, well, no, we do need sway bars. The reason I ended up cutting them off is it's a common problem when you raise Jeeps that you have your steering interference, and there's all kinds of different arms and things that you can get to fix that. But the Dorman Complete solution is really meant, 2.5-inch lifts. This is a 4-inch lift. So it's not their arm's fault. It is outside of what they were really intending it to be done. So the simple solution is you can buy or you can make, but current steel prices, it was cheaper for me to buy is longer extended sway bar mounts. They're a thicker steel. They come with gussets, and it will move our stud clear of all of our steering linkage. Yes, that's ordering more parts, and the whole point of this episode was to have it on the ground legal. And it's like every single step on the Jeep is more problems. I'm just flabbergasted. Who would have thought that a Jeep that was parked for rust and mechanical problems that I bought for $1 would just keep having problems? It's mind boggling, like really, or mind boggling. I don't know. The mind's not working. So I need to get footage to Dwayne, because technically I try to release at least once a week on Wednesdays. Sometimes it falls on different days. And it's Wednesday afternoon. And I haven't sent him any of this footage. And I still have to shoot an intro. So, how are we going to finish this? We're finishing on a win. So, let's throw the brakes on it. I don't even have the brake lines or shocks to finish that side of the suspension up. A whole lot of stuff's in the mail. But, yeah, let's throw brakes on. Yeah, that was kind of corny, but it was fun, right? We threw brakes on the Jeep. So brakes are done. We're waiting for brake lines, shocks, bump stops, bump stop cups, the weldable brackets so we can put the sway bars on it, and then we can put it on the ground and be done, hopefully, until we find the next 5 or 6 things that it needs. But that is the nature of cheap project cars, and let's be real. When you're working on your project car at home, you're going to hit a lot of small problems that are going to stop you in your tracks. And it's easy to get discouraged. I was hoping to be done with this, so the next episode was just detailing. And realistically, for you guys, the next episode on the Jeep will be the detailing and making it look nice and pretty and brand new. Because I'm just going to knock these last few things out real quick. We don't need this many episodes on a Jeep. Also, going to say, again, jump and get you some of the new merch to support the channel and support what's going to end up happening with this Jeep. It's part of our flip series and we need to make money with it. And I've got a questionable idea that's going to probably end up netting not a lot of money made, but some of you guys have been commenting the same idea that I've got. So please go pick you up a new shirt. I like big blocks. I make questionable choices, not stupid ones. Some stickers, any of it. It helps support the channel a tremendous amount, and it lets you walk around showing some cool stuff off and supporting the channel in public. And people will ask you, hey, where'd you get that shirt? And you can tell them all about the Questionable Garage. But I really hate it. It's not on the ground, but it happens. This is real life. You guys are going to have the same things at home, and I'm not immune to it. So appreciate you hanging out, as always, in the shop while we make a lot of questionable choices on a very questionable Jeep that soon is not going to be questionable to drive because we're being persistent and we're fixing it right. I'm Jared, reminding you guys to always make questionable choices, and it's okay to cut the toxic people out of your life. You don't have to sit around them. We'll see you.